Hi, I'm Kathleen Byram, and I'm the author of Conversations with Donkey, A Bipolar Journey. I'd like to talk to you today about alcoholism and stopping drinking. I've been an alcoholic since probably, I don't know how long. My first drink was when I was probably 11 years old, and my last drink was when I was about 53. So that's a long time to be drinking. I remember my first drink being at a wedding celebration, and they had punch there. And I remember getting into the punch and discovering that I felt really great. And I remember sitting down on the floor against the wall, and my mother coming up to me and saying, "Kathleen, have you been drinking the punch?" Well, of course I was drinking the punch. I was a child. Children like punch. I don't know how much children like the taste of alcohol. That may have had something to do with whether or not I was innately an alcoholic or not. I don't know. But I started getting worse when I was around 17, and I got a boyfriend, and he had a friend who was older, and they bought liquor and we drank. And I vomited. I drank so much I vomited. And so began my life of drinking. Now, I remember when I was about 14, I wasn't a drinker, but when there was a party, I managed to get a hold of some. And I remember getting a hold of some apple juice and putting it in one of those canning jars, and I hid it in my closet. I thought, I'm going to make me some hard cider. And so later I came back and found it, and it was covered with nasty bubbles, and I was so disgusted that I threw it out. It just revolted me. And I suppose if it had looked the same but been cloudy, I might have tried tasting it. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't start really drinking until I was 17. And then sometimes I really wasn't interested in that. I started getting more interested in it when I got in my 30s and I was taking care of a family and I was having a hard time. And kindly, the father of the family came to me and talked to me about it and said what I was doing wasn't wise. And he was right, it wasn't. And it just got worse over the years until in my 50s I was a raging alcoholic. Actually, I wasn't raging. I was more of a calm alcoholic. I could drink and drink and drink. You know those big bottles like this? The big ones. I could pretty much almost finish one of those in a night. Every single night. And so it came to be that I started having symptoms, and I thought it was cirrhosis. We looked it up on Google, as patients are apt to do, and got panicky and went to the doctor. And I did not have cirrhosis, thank God, but I did have an enlarged liver, and so I started working on that. And I promised God that I would no longer I keep wanting to say no longer smoke. I quit smoking back in my 40s, I think. But I promised God I would no longer drink. alcohol in this life. Now, as I said before, that doesn't keep me from eating it. I love a good rum ball or bourbon ball, and I can eat it like a bourbon, what do you call it, bourbon chicken maybe, things like that. They don't set me off. They don't make me want to drink. Once in a while I think about how good a margarita or something like that would be, but I don't think about it too much anymore. You don't necessarily want it for the rest of your life. I got over it. I knew that if I promised God, I would not have the guts to lie and break it. And so I finally just did that. And so I've been sober since about 53 years old. Now, here's something weird that happened. I was home one day and I was messing around on the computer and I saw an advertisement for delivered liquor. And I thought, oh, wouldn't that be nice to have some rum and some Coke delivered, and I could have a rum and a Coke. And I did it. It was as though I was in a fugue. I don't know how to describe what it was like that I was experiencing, but I did not think about my promise. It totally went out the window. And all I thought about was, I could have that delivered. And I did. It was delivered. And I poured myself a drink. And I brought it up to my mouth. And that was when, click, something went ding, and I said, uh-oh, look what I'm doing. And I woke up from it. And poor Rick, when he got home, I showed it to him, and I told him what I had done. And I said, I didn't drink it. That was the only episode that I had like that. And the rest of the time, I've been clear. I want you to know that it's something that can be done, this being sober. And what really helped me was writing. I found that by writing and compiling my essays into a book was everything, and talking. Writing and talking are my two big things. I need to be able to express myself. And I found it easier to express myself when I was drunk. But now I have more guts. And I will get up here and make a fool of myself and not even care. So that's my tale. I shortened it. I could have read you the chapter on it from my new book, but I won't. My new book is called The Angels Cheer When You Face Your Fear. And I don't know when it'll be out because I have to get it published, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that without any money. So we'll get it figured out somehow or another eventually. I want to thank you for listening. And please comment if you have any thoughts about this situation. I love to answer comments. And please like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.